Last time we spoke, I explained to you what is the difference between spiritual knowledge and material knowledge. I explained that material knowledge is the process of acquisition. More lectures, more notes, more tapes, more videos, more books, more verses learnt by heart. Whereas I explained that spiritual knowledge is not the process of acquisition, it is the process of divestiture. It is of giving up your sense of self, giving up your ego, giving up your desires, giving up your hopes, your dreams, your illusions, giving up your sense of self so that you truly experience what it means to be one with the rest of creation. Because as Krishna explains in the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says very clearly, what is transcendental knowledge? And Krishna says, Yaj jnatva na punarmoham evam yasyasi pandava sarva bhutani asheshani drakshasya atmano ato mayi. When you have learned the truth, you will know that all beings are but part of me, they are in me and they are mine. And when you learn this, you have dissolved the illusion of being separate. This illusory boundary between you and the rest of the world, which you call the sense of self, is truly dissolved, and that is knowledge. So knowledge is the process of divestiture, not the process of acquisition. And how do you learn this process of divestiture? This process of divestiture, Krishna explains in the 4th chapter, the 31st verse of the Bhagavad Gita. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. To learn the truth, approach a realized soul, a spiritual teacher. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. So it's a one, find the spiritual teacher; two, offer service unto him and then ask questions unto him. Jnaninas tattva darshina upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. And this soul who is your teacher can guide you how to acquire this knowledge. And how does one acquire this knowledge? The path of acquisition of this knowledge, which is the divestiture of everything that you have never known, is through the process of what we know as sacrifice. Sacrifice or yajna brings about a dissolution between yourself and the rest of the universe. And it helps you to realize that you are one with all of divinity that lies within God. In chapter 4, in the 31st shloka, Krishna explains, Nayam lokosti ayagnyasya kuto anya kuru sattamaha. O best of the Kuru dynasty, without performing yajna, without having sacrifice, one can never live happily in this life. What to speak of the next life? The purpose of yajna is to diminish the sense of self. It is to attenuate the sense of self. It is to weaken the sense of self. It is to transcend the sense of self. It is to surrender the sense of self to God. And it is this sense of self which actually is the source of all suffering within this world. It was declared first by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita when he describes this process. And in this verse, that you cannot live happily without sacrificing the sense of self, without doing yajna. And it was reiterated several hundred years later by the Buddha, who also said that the sense of self must be extinguished. So, how does one extinguish this sense of self? And to extinguish this sense of self, Krishna has already given the primary sacrifice. And that primary sacrifice, Krishna explains, is performing your swadharma, performing your duties in a spirit of sacrifice and devotion to God, without any sense of proprietorship, without any sense of ownership over what is there with you, and without any desire for the fruit, without considering himself to be the doer, because as I have explained earlier, Prakriti does everything under the instructions of Bhagavan. Prakriti acts under the instructions of Bhagavan. So you do nothing. So you are not entitled to the fruit either. And you should not be attached to inaction, or you should not be attached to not working. So in fact, Krishna says that the supreme yajna is to really engage in work. And this work is that which will purify you. In chapter 4, text 19, Krishna says, Yasya sarve samarambha kama sankalpa varjitah jnana agni dagdha karmani tamahu panditam buddha. One is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every act is devoid of desire for gratifying his senses. He is said to be the worker whose actions, which are desirous of fruit, are burnt up by the fire of perfect knowledge. So we have to understand that when you are under illusion, when you are fully under the control of the illusion that I, me, myself are separate and distinct from the universe, this subtle body has 3 cardinal sins. And these 3 cardinal sins which exist are, number 1, the desire to enjoy through the senses. You want to enjoy through your eyes, your ears, your nose, your sense of touch, your sense of taste. So you want to enjoy through the senses. This is the first natural sin of being separate. The second cardinal sin of being separate is to think that you are a mini God, to think that you are the controller, to think that you are God. Indeed, one who desires to control and to possess and to expand his control and possessions is a victim of this illusion of separateness. And the third is that when you think that you are spiritually advancing, you still retain that sense of separateness because somehow you believe that you are superior to other people. So number 1, when the sense of separateness exists, you want to enjoy with the senses as much as possible and keep expanding that enjoyment unlimitedly. Number 2, you desire to control and possess the things of the world, the people of the world, the creatures of the world. You want to possess as much as possible, because to possess and to control is yet another sin of being separate. Comes from the illusion of being separate. And the third is the idea that you are dearer to God, that you are superior to other people. So in the material world you want to be better than others. In the spiritual world you want to indeed be more spiritual than others. You want to be closer to God. So until you realize that God is the only enjoyer, until you realize that God is the only controller and possessor, And until you realize that God is equal friend to all living entities, until then you will never know peace, because the sense of separateness will destroy your peace. It will keep on causing agony to you, and it will continue to expand your suffering. And you can get rid of all these three in one stroke. You get rid of them in one stroke by getting rid of the sense of self. And how do you get rid of the sense of self? You get rid of the sense of self through the performance of yajna. And the principal yajna that Krishna teaches in the Bhagavad Gita is to do your duty in a spirit of sacrifice and devotion to God. And this person is described in chapter 4, verse 22. Yadricha labha santushto dvandvatito vimatsarah sama siddhav asiddhav cha kritvapi na nibhadyate. One who is satisfied with gain that comes of its own accord, who is free from duality, who does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, such a person is not entangled, although he performs all actions. So, yasye sarve samarambha kama sankalpa varjitah Jnana Agni Dagda Karmani Tamahu Panditam Buddha. Krishna says this in verse 19. One is understood to be in full knowledge and realization when every desire, every act is free of desire for gratifying the senses. He is said to be a worker whose fruitive action is burnt up by the fire of perfect knowledge. So, this is the nature of sacrifice. To work not for enjoyment, to work not for possession and control, and to work not for being better than the next person, but indeed to offer everything you do to God with the idea Om Tat Sat, with the idea that Krishna, this is for you. Yat karoshi, yad ashnashi, yat johosi dadasi, yat tapasyasi kaunteya tad kurushvam adarpanam. That everything you do, everything you eat, everything you offer, everything you give away, everything you offer as a sacrifice to God. So, Krishna explains in the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita that what do you do really when you are not working? So there are many other sacrifices which keep you engaged and keep attenuating your sense of self. And Krishna explains that the Havan which is offered to the Devatas is one of them. The Havan that is offered to the Supreme Brahman is another of them. Those who sacrifice their hearing process, those who sacrifice their visual process, those who sacrifice other objects of the senses, those who take a vow of silence, all of these people are using sacrifice as a means to control the mind. So there are those who study the Vedas, there are those who practice Ashtanga Yoga, there are those who practice giving wealth and other objects in charity, dravya, they give it in charity. There are those who sacrifice the breath in pranayam, and by sacrificing the incoming breath, the outgoing breath, all of them ultimately learn the meaning of sacrifice. And having performed sacrifice, one becomes cleansed of this sense of self, which is the source of all sinful reaction. And having tasted the remnants of the sacrifice, they experience what it is to be one with the rest of the universe. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna later explains that of all forms of sacrifice, Krishna says, Yagna Nam Japo Yagnosmi. Of all forms of sacrifice, He says, I am that sacrifice of the holy name. So here you have multitude of sacrifices available, and Krishna says that these sacrifice which he embodies is the chanting of the holy names. So the Bhagavad Gita is very clear. Make your work into a sacrifice, and when you are not working, make everything else into a sacrifice. And prominent amongst all sacrifices is the chanting of the holy names of God, because by chanting the holy names of God, you silence your mind. As I have explained, when you are engaged in work in a spirit of sacrifice and devotion, you lose your sense of self. You experience a peace beyond all understanding. But when you are not working, the mind tends to run riot, and therefore, to attenuate and continue the process of dissolving the sense of separateness or the sense of self, we chant God's name, because Krishna says that is the sacrifice which he says is what he embodies. So it's important to sacrifice, but knowledge is the key, because as I have pointed out to you, both knowledge and work are like two wings of the bird. On one side there is work, on the other side there is knowledge. And these two wings of the bird help the individual to reach God. So on one hand you are acting in a spirit of devotion and sacrifice. On the other hand, what you are doing is based upon the knowledge that is there in the scripture. But that knowledge in the scripture will not make you free, I have pointed out. It is that realized knowledge which comes from dissolving that sense of self, which is the result of performing yajna. And indeed, performing yajna that dissolves the sense of self. It is making your whole life into a yajna. It is making your whole life into a sacrifice, so that your sense of self is completely extinguished, or at least suspended and held in abeyance until it is absolutely necessary. Then only you will learn what Krishna says in chapter 4, verse 35. Yaj gnatva na punar moham evam yasyasi pandava sarva bhutani asheshani drakshasya atmano atvamai. And Krishna says very, very clearly that this knowledge will destroy all your ignorance. It will completely bring about a separation between the soul and the subtle body. All your karmas will be burnt into ashes. How will they be burnt into ashes? That Krishna explains in verse 36 and 37. In verse 36, Krishna says, Api chedasi papebhyo sarvebhyo papakritamaha sarvam jnana plavaineva vrijinam santirishyasi. Through this realized knowledge, this transcendental knowledge, through this spiritual knowledge, you will cross over this ocean of suffering, even though you are the greatest sinner amongst all sinners in this world. He also says that yatha idhamso samido agnir bhasmasat kurute arjuna Gnyan agni dagda karmani bhasmasat kurute tatha. Just as blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, so Arjuna does the fire of transcendental realized spiritual knowledge burn into ashes all your karmas, all your reactions to material activities. Therefore Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshaishami masucha. Let's abandon all other religions, abandon all other philosophies, and surrender to my instructions in this Bhagavad Gita alone, and I shall save you from all sin. Never fear. So, indeed, for one who has no faith, this path does not work. अश्रद्धधन पुरुषा धर्मस्यस्य परांतप अप्राप्य माम निवर्तन्ते मृत्यु संसारमर्त्मनि. You don't have faith, you can't continue on this path. You will fall back again into material existence and the cycle of birth and death. But for one who does have faith, in text 49 of chapter 4, Krishna says, Shraddhava labhate jnanam tat para samyat indriyah jnana labdhva param shantim achirenadi gacchati. A faithful man, full of faith, who's absorbed in transcendental realized knowledge and who subdues his senses, quickly attains supreme spiritual peace. And how to perform yajna, how to perform sacrifice, how to engage in working in the world in a spirit of devotion and renunciation, which is the primary sacrifice. And the other, which is the embodiment of Krishna, the chanting of the holy names, must be learned from a teacher who, having practiced both of these, has attained realization. Having said this, Krishna then goes on to describe what really is this experience, or what really is the realization of God, where one is one with the universe. And this, Krishna explains, is called the realization of God at the level of Brahman. Indeed, there are 3 levels of realizing God. The first level of realizing God is through the path of knowledge. The second level of realizing God is through the path of meditation. And the third level of realizing God is through the path of unmotivated, uninterrupted devotion. The path which takes you through knowledge to the realization of God is called Brahman realization. The path which takes you to the realization of God through meditation is called Paramatma realization. And that path which takes you to the realization of Bhagavan is called Parabhakti, and is the realization of one who is engaged in devotion without renunciation, with renunciation and sacrifice, and full of devotion. So, this is described in the Bhagavad Puran. In the Bhagavad Puran it says, Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yaj jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwan iti shabdyate. That God is realized in 3 ascending levels of realization. Realizing God as Brahman, that is a path of knowledge. Realizing God as Paramatma, which is through the path of meditation. And realizing God as Bhagavan, which is through the path of devotion. Unmotivated, uninterrupted devotion. So, in the 13th chapter, Krishna describes what is this Brahman, what is this Brahman which we aspire to realize as being one with that which lies within Krishna and in which all of us belong. And that Krishna starts in chapter 13, text 13. Gneyam yat tat pravakshami yaj jnatva amritam ashnute anadi mat param brahma na sat tan nasad uchyate. He says, I shall now explain to you that which can be realized as you taste the eternal. This is beginningless and it is subordinate to me, because Krishna has said in the Bhagavad Gita that Brahmano hi pratishtaham, I am the source, I am the rest, I am the foundation from which Brahman comes. And this Brahman is the spirit. It lies beyond the cause and effect, it lies beyond karma, it lies beyond Prakriti. It is transcendent to all Prakriti and Purush, and it includes both of them. So Krishna explains this in the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. And he says, Sarvata Pani Padam Tat Sarvata Akshi Shiro Mukam Sarvata Shruti Maloke Sarvam Avritya Tishtati. Everywhere are his hands and legs, everywhere are his face and eyes. He hears everything. In this way, the Lord exists everywhere. Sarva Indriya Gunabhasham, Sarva Indriya Vivarjitam, Asaktam Sarva Bhrichaiva, Nirgunam Gunabhoktracha. And this Lord is the source of all senses, yet he is without senses. He is unattached, although he is the maintainer of all living beings. He transcends Prakriti and the modes of gunas. At the same time, he is the master of Prakriti. And he goes on to say, Bahirantascha bhutanam acharam charam evacha sukshmatvattad avigneyam durastam chantike cha yat. This Brahman exists internally and externally in the moving and the non-moving. Brahman is beyond the power of the senses to see or to know. And although God is far, far away, through Brahman he is near to all. So in this way, Krishna describes what Brahman is. He also says that although avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktam iva cha sthitam bhuta bhartra cha tajneyam grasishnu prabhavishnu cha. Although the world appears to be divided, Brahman is never divided. It is one. Although it is the maintainer of all living entities, he both devours and develops all. So, this Brahman, Krishna says, is the source of light in all luminous objects, is beyond the darkness of matter and is unmanifest. He is realized knowledge. This Brahman is realized knowledge. This Brahman is the object of knowledge. And this Brahman is the goal of knowledge. And this Brahman also lies in every person's heart. So, this is what Krishna means when he says, Yaj gnatva na punar moham evam yasyasi pandava sarva bhutani asheshani drakshasi atmano athomai. When you have learned the truth, you will know that all beings lie within me and they are mine, because they then ascend to the platform of Brahman. Brahma bhuta prasannatma na sochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. When you have reached this platform of Brahman, then there will be no more hankering, no more lamentation. And you will look upon all living beings with equal vision. And in the 13th chapter, Krishna begins by describing what is knowledge and what is realization. And here he points out the character, the behavior and the nature of a person who has knowledge. So he says, amanitvam adambitvam ahimsa kshantir arjavam acharyopasanam saucham stairyam atma vinigraha. Humility, lack of arrogance, non-violence, tolerance, sympathy, simplicity, approaching a true spiritual teacher, being completely transparent and clean, being steadfast and self-controlled. And he goes on to say, Stairyam atma vinigraha, indriya artheshu vairagyam, having mentally renounced all the objects of the senses, anahankara evacha, having no sense of ahankar, no ego, no sense of self, janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukha doshanu darshanam. He is fully aware that this world, external world of Prakriti, is a place where birth and death and old age and disease and fault and misfortune and happiness are guaranteed to everyone. असक्तिर अनाभिष्वंगः पुत्रदारा गृहदिषु नित्यं च समचितत्वम इष्टनिष्ट पपतिषु. So this person who has knowledge is living with his wife and his son. Mentally he is completely dedicated to God. And because of this dedication to God, this attachment to God, he is completely satisfied with whatever he attains in life, whether it is seen to be pleasant or unpleasant. मयि च अनन्य योगेन भक्तिरव्यभिचारिणी विविक्त देश सेवित्वम अरतिर्जन संशदि. So, one such a person who is in knowledge automatically attains devotion. Krishna says, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na sochati na kankshati samah sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. One attains unmotivated, uninterrupted devotion to me. So therefore Krishna says here that this person who is in knowledge, Mayi cha ananya yogena bhaktir avyabhicharini. So such a person is constantly engaged in unmotivated devotion to me, resorting to solitary places detached from the general mass of worldly people. Such is the nature of the person who has acquired knowledge and realization. And thus he says, Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam Etaj Jnanam iti Proktam Ajnanam Yadatho Anyatha. So Krishna says very clearly, all this I declare to be knowledge, and whatever is not this behavior, I consider it to be ignorance. So today I have discussed the importance of sacrifice. I have discussed the importance of a teacher in teaching you how to perform sacrifice. I have told you the most important sacrifice is doing your work in a spirit of devotion and renunciation, without considering yourself to be the doer and without being attached to inaction. I have also explained to you that when you are not working, you have to offer everything to God as a sacrifice, so that you are free from the contamination of desiring to enjoy and expand enjoyment, control and expand control, and considering yourself to be better spiritually or materially from other people. Once you realize this and you are engaged in the performance of yajna, you will realize that without yajna you cannot attain happiness in this world, forget about the next. And thus Krishna explains that this knowledge is of realizing everything lies within Krishna, is in him and is his, is the realization of the first stage of God realization, which is called Brahman. There are three stages: Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Brahman is what is the realization attained through knowledge. The realization attained through meditation, which we will discuss when we do Dhyan Yoga, is the realization of Paramatma, and the realization of Bhagavan is attained through the performance of Bhakti, which is Parabhakti, unmotivated, uninterrupted. I have also explained what Brahman is according to the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. I have also explained the behavior of one who is situated in knowledge and realization. And with this we conclude Jnana Yoga. If you have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and ask right now.
Yes, of course. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the session. Good morning, Dr. Shantanu. Can you hear me, Dr. Shantanu?
It's a little soft. Maybe you can speak louder.
Okay. I'll also increase my volume. Dr. Shantanu, you've spoken about, sacrifice. You've spoken about teacher and performing yajna. So, what I wanted to ask was, how do you really go about finding the right teacher to help you through this process of self-realization?
See, he says, amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, kshantir, arjavam. And then comes acharya upasanam. So first you have to have humility. Amanitvam, you have to lack arrogance. Adambitvam, you have to be non-violent. Ahimsa. Shantir, you have to learn to be tolerant. Arjavam, you have to be straightforward and transparent. And then if you have the desire, you don't have to find the teacher. God will send the teacher to you. The process of spiritual life, to carry it to its conclusion, doesn't happen to everybody. It happens according to desire. And those who have that desire, God fulfills that desire. Those who don't have that desire, God will give you some excuse, some reason, some argument not to go ahead. Is that clear?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Shantanu. Another question we have is, earlier we used to hear that God takes, avatars in this world on earth. Does this happen right now, or do
Can't
God
hear
takes
you. Please
avatar?
say it slowly and say it again.
Someone is asking us, is God taking avatars, rare avatars, to improve human behavior right now?
Right now in Kali Yuga, Kaler Naam Rupa Avatar. In the age of Kali Yuga, the name of God is his avatar. So when you chant the name of God, you will have the name of God as the incarnation of God dancing on your tongue and also dancing on your mind, which is like this Kalia, the snake, the
Mm.
multi-headed snake of the mind. When you chant on your tongue Krishna's name, Krishna dances on the mind, the Kalia Nag, and helps to remove all the poison and purify it. There is an incarnation in Kali Yuga besides the name of God, and that incarnation comes at the very end of Kali Yuga. So it is 432,000 years from now. It's a long wait and many births.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Shantanu. We have a question on Zoom. Someone is asking, can one take a combination of different path of sacrifices to attain our salvation?
Yes, the important thing is to be constantly engaged in sacrifice. It's not possible to perform only one sacrifice all the time. You can have dominant sacrifice like doing work, chanting the holy name of God. But indeed, Krishna wants that your whole life should be a sacrifice, and everything you do should be a sacrifice. So it is indeed a combination of sacrifices that are more important. The important thing is that through sacrifice we weaken and dissolve that sense of self, that illusion that separates us from the universe. And it doesn't matter seriously what is that sacrifice, but whichever sacrifice you perform, you have to be constantly engaged in it.
Right. Thank you. Dr. Shantanu, you've also spoken about chanting and how it can be a powerful tool, for self-realization. What really, for someone who's just starting off chanting, what is really the right way to chant? If you can just elaborate a little on that.
Yes, I will cover this at the conclusion of this introductory sessions on the different topics in the Bhagavad Gita. And I will explain in detail how one can engage in doing this chanting. So there are, in the Brihad Naradiya Puran, it is mentioned that Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Harer Nam eva kevalam, Kalau nasteva, nasteva, nasteva gatiranyata. There is no other way in Kali Yuga other than chanting the holy name. There is no other way in Kali Yuga other than chanting the holy name. There is no other way in Kali Yuga other than chanting the holy name. This is repeated thrice for emphasis. So, chanting of the holy name is the Yuga Dharma. It is the path that is recommended in the Yuga. And in this Yuga, there is a special mantra which has been devised for this Yuga. And it is mentioned in the Kali Santarano Upanishad, which is the Upanishad for crossing over the ocean of Kali Yuga. And it says, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Iti Shodha Shakam Nam Kali Kalmashu Nashanam Natah Paratarupayah Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. It describes this mantra, and then it says that if you chant this mantra in a spirit of sacrifice, in a spirit of devotion, you will realize it contains all the Vedas, it contains all spiritual knowledge within it. And through the process of chanting this, you shall transcend birth and death and return to God.
Right. Thank you. I think we can take one last question. Dr. Shantanu, realization and sacrifice, is it like an ongoing process, or can someone master it at any point in his life?
It is not a question of mastering it. It is a question of continually being engaged in it. Do not think that I have to master this yajna, or that is again a very material concept. The important thing is, can I engage in sacrifice so that I can transcend this sense of self, forget this sense of self. Essentially, if you want to know, remember God and forget self. All means that help you to remember God are wonderful forms of sacrifice. All means that help you to forget self, they are also wonderful means of sacrifice. But to remember God and forget self, that is the most powerful method for sacrifice.
Right. Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Shantu. That's the questions we have for this week. You will be starting a new session next week if you want to talk about that, a new topic that you'll be covering.
So please don't mix up and think that I should only do Jnana Yoga or I should only do Karma Yoga. To the extent that you engage in Karma Yoga, to the extent that you are intellectually inclined, engage in Jnana Yoga, and to the extent you are engaged in the path of devotion, to the extent you are emotional engaged in the path of devotion or Jnana or Bhakti Yoga, to the extent you are meditatively inclined, engage in Dhyan Yoga. The point is, there is no one separate path, because we all are a combination of inclinations, abilities, and therefore we have to engage in all of these, which is why the Bhagavad Gita doesn't mention one path, it mentions all the paths.
So follow all the paths. That is important.
And as far as sacrifice is concerned, I may remind you of a verse from the Vishnu Puran. Smartavya satatam Vishnor vismartavya na jatuchit sarve vide nishedesyor etayor eva kinkara. There are only two rules in spiritual life. One is to always remember God, the other is to never forget Him. All other rules are derivatives of these two rules. Therefore, remember God, forget self. This is what I would want you to remember most. Remember God, forget self. That is the core teaching.
So remember, God forgets self.
Okay, Hari
Thank
Om.
you so much, Dr.
Jai Shri
Shantanu.
Krishna.
Hari Om. We'll look
Krishna.
forward to next week. Thank you.